Hello and welcome to another video from the only channel that you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy it. And today is going to be a sneak peek into the Revelation video series. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've been promising this forever and I haven't done it yet, and I'm not even writing or reading or doing anything right now. I'm just working in the forest because I've gotten into that mood, and I feel like I need to give y'all something because I keep whetting your appetite for it. So we're just going to do this kind of freestyle, which means you're not going to get chapter and verse of the Bible, and don't even ask me about it because I'm not going to look it up. I am just way too busy. But when this video comes out in its polished format, it'll have all of that in it. So today I'm just going to tell you about the scriptures, and if you do your homework you can find them on your own. But we're going to be talking about the earth because one of the videos in that series has got to be about the earth, because there's a whole lot of information in the book of Revelation about the earth. So we have to understand how the earth works and how it's used to work and how it's gonna work in order to understand Revelation. And the reason that this has even become an issue with me lately is that a whole lot of my subscribers apparently believe King James only, or they believe in just the English translation of the Bible only, because pretty much every English translation of the Bible is a King James Bible. They all pretty much match one another, but they really don't match the ancient books from which our English translations came. So we have problems that are in the earliest English Bibles which end up in our later English Bibles that no one's bothered to resolve. The belief that the Bible says that the earth is flat, or that the earth is square, or that the earth does not move, but that all the planets and stars and the sun and the moon move around the earth, really doesn't have any support in the original language text. The verse that says that the earth is unmovable is basically using a word that is used throughout the Bible for a whole lot of things that are not the earth. The prophets are said to be unmovable, and I think pretty much if you read a verse that says the prophets are unmovable, you understand that they're unmovable from their integrity. They do not change their course of life. And that's what the verse means when it says that the earth is unmovable. The earth does not change its course around the sun, but God can change it. And we're going to find out about some of those changes right now and what they mean. Now, another verse in the Bible that seems to be confusing to people is the one that says that the angels are standing at the four corners of the earth holding back the winds of the earth. Well, what it actually says is that the angels are at the four cardinal points of the earth. And we can get a better understanding what that is by recognizing what four cardinal points are for our earth today. On our compass, we can see that the earth is divided into north, south, east, and west. And this brings us to an earlier verse which says that God is sitting above the circle of the earth. You know, if you look at that and it says he's sitting above the circle of the earth, well, a circle can be flat. But what it actually says there is that God is sitting above the compass of the earth. And I don't mean a magnetic compass for finding direction. I'm talking about one of these, the compass that you see on a Freemason's symbol. And it is a direct reference to that. But the word is more like encompassing, the encompassment of the earth. And the encompassment, which is where we get our name, word for this, is basically describing a sphere. It can describe anything that you could draw out with a compass or anything that you can enclose, but it's basically saying a circle that encloses the entire earth. Not a circle around a plate, but a sphere. And the four corners, or four directions of that sphere, are actually quite easy to comprehend as well. If we look at the Bible, there are words that get translated as north, south, east, and west, but it's not the same words every time. We're going to discuss what some of those words mean to give us a better understanding of the earth. First off, the word for south is actually Negeb, which is where the Negev region, the desert region, gets its name. And it simply means burnt place. Well, at the time that that word was originally used, the equator itself was a burnt place, and so everybody knew that if you're on the northern hemisphere and you go south, you're going to the burnt place. Now, the word north actually means hidden treasure. So what is north? North Pole. How in the world is the North Pole a hidden treasure? Scientists that do core sampling, that's where they go to the North Pole, they drill a hole, and they pull up these long tubes filled with ice, and they examined every layer of ice and do chemical analysis of it, and they look for particles of whatever in there. When they do those core samples and they finally hit Earth, they go through all of the ice and they hit land, they always bring up bits and pieces of tropical vegetation. And that's because in the ancient past, the Earth was encompassed in a ice or water feature, frozen water feature, that was like a window. We could see the sun, but the ultraviolet radiation and such could not get through that, so we were protected. And that's where the flood came from. In the Bible, when it says that all the floodgates of the heavens opened up, what it actually says in Hebrew is the sky window was shattered as if it was struck. So the flood wasn't really so much rain as a pile of ice falling to the earth. Around our polar regions, that ice is still there. And this is what makes scientists believe that we have ice ages that reoccur every so often. And I don't know that they really believe that, but they want us to believe it. When the floodwaters came, between the tropics of Cancer and the tropics of Capricorn, it came as rain. In the polar regions, it fell as ice. And the ice is still there, and the rain is still here. The rain of Noah's day never went back because, like I said, it came from the sky window. But when the flood ended, it receded into the oceans. Now that's another concept that we have to understand. In the Bible, when it says that God made the waters above the expanse and the waters below the expanse, it's talking about the oceans on the surface of the earth and that sky window ocean above the earth. Now there's a problem with that, and I just recently discovered it while doing research into every single word in that account of Genesis in its original languages. It doesn't actually say that there are waters below the expanse and waters above the expanse, but it's the waters below the expanse and the waters within the expanse. And there's a reason that's important, because a lot of these flat earthers believe that the earth was put in a dome and that the dome is still there. The dome isn't there. The dome is in the Atlantic Ocean. But that dome is called the firmament in the King James Bible, and that is the most horrible way to translate that word that could possibly exist. Firmament means something that's firm, but expanse, the word that expanse is translated from, is something that's nothing. In other words, empty space. It could have air, it could have some kind of gaseous things in it, but it doesn't have anything solid except for the planets, the stars, and that dome or encasement, encompassment that the earth was in. Now the word that we translate as east changes. Sometimes it's the word which means the rising of the sun, which is similar to our word east. So no matter where we are on this planet, wherever the sun is rising from, is the general direction of east. You know, if we can see that the sun travels within those parameters of the tropics of Capricorn and tropics of Cancer. And what that means really is, because a lot of people don't know what that tropics is, but the tropics is the area that surrounds the equator. So the equator is a very, very thin line that goes around the middle of the earth, but if you fatten up that line, the entire area within that is the tropics. Another word used for east is actually front. Now this is the part that's going to be very important to understanding Revelation. The earth has a front and it has a back. In the original creation account, when God made the seas, the one above the expanse and the one below the expanse. The one below the expanse was in one place. The center of the Earth's landmass is the face of the Earth. When we hear about people saying we're going to wipe them off the face of the Earth, that's talking about taking people off of the landmass. The seas are never included in that historically. And that's because in the ancient past, everyone understood that the land mass of the Earth was the front of the Earth, and the water mass, or the sea, was the back of the Earth. So what we have here is not so much a north, south, east, and west. The four cardinal points of the Earth are the top, the bottom, the front, and the back. But it's not just the fact that the land mass is the front. The land mass, or the front, is actually the part of the Earth that would be facing directly into a lunar eclipse, or the part of the Earth facing directly into a solar eclipse. In the Law of Moses, the Jews actually had to come out once a year to view an eclipse of the moon. That was called the Feast of Trumpets, and that would happen predictably every year. But the Earth has 2 lunar eclipses every year. It's just that one eclipse occurs over the face of the Earth, and the other eclipse occurs over the back of the Earth. So that's why our planet has a front and a back. Every single celestial event that occurred in the Bible always occurred with the land mass of the Earth facing the event. So, hopefully that'll whet your appetite a little bit. There's a whole lot more going to be coming out about the other celestial objects in the Book of Revelation video series. But for right now, hopefully that'll give you something to think about. If you don't want to survive, don't listen to me.